Good quotes can change your life. Let's start your day right. Are you ready? If you're so afraid of failure, you will never succeed. You have to take chances. Mario Andretti. I teach students that what people say about failure in politics is mostly wrong. People always told me, they'll praise you on your way up and kick you on your way down. That wasn't my experience. I can't walk down the street in Toronto without someone coming up and saying hello. Michael Ignatieff. I'm a little self-conscious about my body. I love to wear hoodies because you can get cozy and eat some food and your belly doesn't show. Jared Padalecki. The biggest misconception people have about me is that when they see how young I am, they think, oh, this guy must have always wanted to be in politics. His parents must have been politically connected. I'm a finance major and always intended to go into business. Aaron Schock. I may not have proved a great explorer, but we have done the greatest march ever made and come very near to great success. Robert Falcon Scott. Look, Congress has allocated more money to finance the upcoming Iraqi elections than it has for the American elections. There's something wrong with that. Donna Brazil. When you come off The X Factor, you're more likely to be a failure than a success because people almost want you to fail. There's this kind of feeling that you're separate from everyone else. You get it from artists, people in the industry, people at record labels. Ali Mers. I would have told him that I appreciated his friendship through the years and that I had learned a lot from him. I really loved Frank like you do a brother. Jimmy Carl Black. You accept failure as a possible outcome of some of the experiments. If you don't get failures, you're not pushing hard enough on the objectives. John Poindexter. What does love look like? It has the hands to help others. It has the feet to hasten to the poor and needy. It has eyes to see misery and want. It has the ears to hear the sighs and sorrows of men. That is what love looks like. St. Augustine. The secret to success, to parenting, to life, is to not count up the cost. Don't focus on all the steps it will take. Don't stare into the abyss at the giant leap it will take. That view will keep you from taking the next small step. Regina Brett. We'll continue to heal human bodies through biotechnology, but we'll also increasingly feed, clothe and house the world through bioengineered systems. Ultimately, there's no reason why live animals should be used in any part of our food or goods chain, and we're working to make that a reality. Ryan Bethencourt. Students and postdoctoral fellows largely depend on the support of the public sector to finance the training and research that will make them world-renowned scientists. Carol W. Greider. Success on one project does not necessarily mean success in the next project. You've got to be prepared in everything you do. Helmut Jan. Just as physical exercise is a well-known and well-accepted means to improve health for anyone, regardless of age or background, so can the brain be put into shape for optimal learning. Naveen Jain. I used to think that divorce meant failure, but now I see it more as a step along the path of self-realization and growth. Alana Stewart. In a full heart there is room for everything, and in an empty heart there is room for nothing. Antonio Porchia. You must learn day by day, year by year to broaden your horizon. The more things you love, the more you are interested in, the more you enjoy. the more you are indignant about, the more you have left when anything happens. Ethel Barrymore. If you look at the common denominator of all the comics who have had big success, it's being true to their nature. That's what takes a long time to learn. Ron White. If all the economists were laid end to end, they'd never reach a conclusion. George Bernard Shaw. Become slower in your journey through life. Practice yoga and meditation if you suffer from hurry sickness. Become more introspective by visiting quiet places such as churches, museums, mountains and lakes. Give yourself permission to read at least one novel a month for pleasure. Wayne Dyer. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Aristotle. I grew and learned, journeyed and understood, that someone who is afraid of failing won't get anywhere, and someone who dares to do it runs the risk of failure if they don't learn, correct their mistakes, and get back up. Fabrizio Moreira. The luster of an experience can actually go up with time. So, learning to play a new instrument, learning a new language, those sorts of things will pay dividends for years or decades to come. Dan Buettner. Land is the secure ground of home, the sea is like life, the outside, the unknown. Stephen Gardiner. What spectacle can be more edifying or more seasonable than that of liberty and learning, each leaning on the other for their mutual and surest support? James Madison. Facts are to the mind what food is to the body. Edmund Burke. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. Colin R. Davis. Many a person has held close, throughout their entire lives, two friends that always remain strange to one another, because one of them attracted by virtue of similarity, the other by difference. Emil Ludwig. Marriages survived just on the basis of ordinary etiquette, day in and day out. Also, cooking together helps a lot. I've seen all these marriages that failed. Those people are always hollering at each other. That doesn't work. Jim Harrison. I want to spend my life with someone and do nice things and go on adventures, read books and have nice food and celebrate things. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in the bedroom like some people who just go to bed and never get out again. Tracy Emin. A cardinal rule in budgeting and saving is to pay yourself first. Once your paycheck hits your account, wisdom has it that you should move some amount to savings even before you pay the bills. John Rampton. It almost seems as though there's a battle going on between the public and all the fast food establishments, and, believe me, I think it's very tasty food. Regis Philbin. I have inspiration and feelings of being alive most every day I live. Judy Collins. To keep your secret is wisdom, to expect others to keep it is folly. William Samuel Johnson. I always prayed that God would give me the wisdom and the vision to do the things on this earth that I was supposed to do to express His life and love and His will. Billy Ray Cyrus. Plunderous is the palette I gift to you. Openly I hug the universe of our friendship, expanding its outer limit. Bradley Chicho. You have to grow thick skin, and that only comes with time and learning. Carly Kloss. I think one thing as far as my learning curve and what I'm learning, there is a time to take a sack, and then there is also a time to try to find a way to maybe throw the ball at a receiver's feet. Brock Osweiler. My first book was called Mountain, Get Out of My Way, where I did an autobiographical sketch, if you will, looking back at myself and looking back at things in my life, and juxtaposing them against things that are happening in other people's lives and trying to be motivational. Montel Williams. People talk about bullying, but you can be your own bully in some ways. You can be the person who is standing in the way of your success, and that was the case for me. Katy Perry. I am fiscally prudent and socially progressive. I believe in protecting a woman's right to choose. I believe in marriage equality. Andrew Cuomo. Opportunity does not knock, it presents itself when you beat down the door. Kyle Chandler. First love is only a little foolishness and a lot of curiosity. George Bernard Shaw. Study nature, love nature, stay close to nature. It will never fail you. Frank Lloyd Wright. I've said many times, you learn to win through not liking to lose. And that's what I mean by learning how to win. Tom Watson. In my life I've learned that true happiness comes from giving. Helping others along the way makes you evaluate who you are. I think that love is what we're all searching for. I haven't come across anyone who didn't become a better person through love. Marla Gibbs. I think Soul Food had the biggest impact on me because that's where I was really able to shine as an actress, and because I also met my husband there, and that was a huge turning point in my personal life. So, that show will stick with me forever and ever and ever. Nicole Ari Parker. That it will never come again is what makes life sweet. Emily Dickinson. Food stamp recipients didn't cause the financial crisis. Recklessness on Wall Street did. Barack Obama. My mother never met a gadget she didn't like. There were tube pans for baking the angel food cakes my father could have after his first heart attack, and bundt pans and loaf pans and baking pans and grilling pans. Janet Fitch. Most small business owners are not particularly sophisticated business people. That's not a criticism. They're passionate about cutting hair or cooking food, and that's why they got in the business, not because they have an MBA. Andrew Mason. I like being able to walk into an old town and find good local food. Sienna Miller. We were all born with a certain degree of power. The key to success is discovering this innate power and using it daily to deal with whatever challenges come our way. Les Brown. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best of which you are capable. John Wooden. A friend in power is a friend lost. Henry Adams. Life is full of adventure. There's no such thing as a clear pathway. Guy Laliberté. For me, success is a state of mind. I feel like success isn't about conquering something, it's being happy with who you are. Britney Spears. Failure usually works for me in the end. David Hasselhoff. It was not my wish to come into politics. I was not a public person. I preferred to spend my birthdays with family and friends. But the 2008 elections were fraudulent, so I decided to finance the opposition to make them stronger. Bidzina Ivanishvili. Fueled by the kindness and generosity of strangers, Food for the poor, builds houses for people. Mike Gallagher. All the teaching I had ever received had failed to make me apply such intelligence as I was possessed of, directly and vividly. There had never been any sunshine, as regards language, in the earlier grey days of learning, for the sky had always pelted with gerunds and optatives. E. F. Benson. All the children of the great men in Persia are brought up at court, where they have an opportunity of learning great modesty, and where nothing immodest is ever heard or seen. Xenophon. Your success story is a bigger story than whatever you're trying to say on stage. Success makes life easier. It doesn't make living easier. Bruce Springsteen. I've always believed that human learning is the result of relatively simple rules combined with massive amounts of hardware and massive amounts of data. Sebastian Thrun. The lesson of history is that you do not get a sustained economic recovery as long as the financial system is in crisis. Ben Bernanke. Do the bishops seriously imagine that legalizing gay marriage will result in thousands of parties to heterosexual marriages suddenly deciding to get divorced so they can marry a person of the same sex? Malcolm Turnbull. All the art of living lies in a fine mingling of letting go and holding on. Havelock Ellis. Honesty and integrity are absolutely essential for success in life, all areas of life. The really good news is that anyone can develop both honesty and integrity. Zig Ziglar. Movies are not novels, and that's why, when filmmakers try to adapt novels, particularly long or complex novels, the result is almost always failure. It can't be done. Paul Auster. I think it's best if there's an amendment that goes on the ballot where the people can weigh in. Every time this issue has gone on the ballot, the people have voted to retain the traditional definition of marriage as recently as California in 2008. Michelle Bachmann. I want to use my connections with coaches, players, celebrities, whomever, and if I can take that friendship and use it to help someone else, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm not going to apologize for that. Tim Tebow. There is not to be found, in all history, any miracle attested by a sufficient number of men, of such unquestioned good sense, education and learning, as to secure us against all delusion in themselves. David Hume. When you have a baby, when you feel his love, you feel so at peace with the world. You just want to share the good news and share how happy you feel. Shakira. No, there's nothing half so sweet in life as love's young dream. Thomas More. Sometimes I am happy and sometimes not. I am, after all, a human being, you know. And I am glad that we are sometimes happy and sometimes not. You get your wisdom working by having different emotions. Yoko Ono. The seat of knowledge is in the head, of wisdom, in the heart. We are sure to judge wrong, if we do not feel right. William Hazlitt. The secrets of success are a good wife and a steady job. My wife told me. Howard Nemerev. I was a vegetarian first. I had high blood pressure at 27. Everybody in my family died of cancer, and I knew it was in the food, so I changed my diet. John Salley. I will give you a definition of a proud man. He is a man who has neither vanity nor wisdom. One filled with hatreds cannot be vain, neither can he be wise. John Keats. Fear of failure, it's the greatest motivational tool. It drives me and drives me and drives me. Jerry West. The best way to obtain truth and wisdom is not to ask from books, but to go to God in prayer, and obtain divine teaching. Joseph Smith, Jr. I honestly think it is better to be a failure at something you love than to be a success at something you hate. George Burns. Obviously, if I'm in Argentina, I'm going to have a steak, but I don't love meat, really. I always think about where the food came from and who had to get it. Julia Stiles. I'm less worried about accomplishment, as younger people always can't help but be, and more concerned with spending my time well, spending time with my family, and reading, learning things. Jonathan Safran Foer. Wisdom lies neither in fixity nor in change, but in the dialectic between the two. Octavio Paz. I'd rather attempt to do something great and fail than to attempt to do nothing and succeed. Robert H. Schuller. Tokyo would probably be the foreign city if I had to eat one city's food for the rest of my life, every day. It would have to be Tokyo, and I think the majority of chefs you ask that question would answer the same way. Anthony Bourdain. True, we love life, not because we are used to living, but because we are used to loving. There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness. Petrarch. I have an American son and an American partner, so marriage might logistically make sense at one point. My partner is a stay-at-home father, so if he wants to be on my health plan, or tax-wise, or maybe on paper we want to have our I's dotted and our T's crossed, but emotionally, neither of us really feels the need for it. Evangeline Lilly. I was in kidney failure. I ended up having a kidney transplant on my 21st birthday. Amy Purdy. The Universal Zulu Nation stands to acknowledge wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, and equality, peace, unity, love, and having fun, work, overcoming the negative through the positive, science, mathematics, faith, facts, and the wonders of God, whether we call him Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, or Jah. Africa Bambaataa. People say history is boring, and that is true because people are boring. We haven't changed since time began. We're still the same. We've obviously made some changes. When we started, it was all about food, clothing and shelter. Now we watch Top Chef, Project Runway, and Extreme Makeover, Home Edition. Colin Hay. Marriage is good enough for the lower classes. They have facilities for desertion that are denied to us. George Bernard Shaw. Furthermore, I will just have to see what the future will bring me. But a change of food whets the appetite. Jonathan Brandis. I think togetherness is a very important ingredient to family life. Barbara Bush. God has already done everything He's going to do. The ball is now in your court. If you want success, if you want wisdom, if you want to be prosperous and healthy, you're going to have to do more than meditate and believe. You must boldly declare words of faith and victory over yourself and your family. Joel Osteen. With every book, you go back to school. You become a student. You become an investigative reporter. You spend a little time learning what it's like to live in someone else's shoes. John Irving. Stop using the word bromance. Can we please kill that stupid term? We're just friends. It's called friendship. Blake Shelton. I realized that I was afraid to really try something, 100%, because I had never reached true failure. Trent Reznor.